and he's ready to go. Noodle on his left, Jess on his right. Hey, hold up, don't start a fight. He's got you covered with all the sports. Don't fret, he's wearing shorts. It's time for Waking Jake in the morning, Waking Jake at night. Jake sucks.
Baby. Good morning, Bakers. What is going on, everybody? Already had a couple good Jakey moments this morning. One with the Bodega Man, one with myself. I'll tell you all about those. The World Series. We're going to Game 6 in Houston. Full Trevor Plouffe Braves in 6 watch is happening, and the chat is going. Thank you to everyone joining us live this morning. Thanks to everyone listening after. Martins and Dino, Cad, Normal Dog, Geronimo, Uncle Paulie, Tom Horak, everyone in here. Kendall, you guys are the absolute best. Happy November 1. That's a big one, huh? You go from like prime baseball playoffs, winding down the summer pretty much. Now it's like turkey time. It's pretty intense. It's pretty intense. Happy November 1st. I hope everyone had a good Hollow weekend. Yeah, no more. Oh, Versace Gandhi in the chat said Jocktober resumes tomorrow. I don't know. I think it's Trevember. Are we saying that? Something like that. What's going on, everybody? I had a solid weekend. Lot of live streaming Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Shout out Justin Shackle who came through. Yankees in-house announcer. I think that's the right term. Host. In-house host. I knew I was either way.
If you're at a Yankee game, he's the guy on the scoreboard.
You're going to see him. Yeah, pregame. Joe's McFly, our guy, came through. That was a ton of fun, always with Joe's. And then half solo with the boys last night. BBD, Zach, Kyle floating around, T-Pain. So it's a good weekend. I did sneak off to Rhode Island again, part 2 of my winemaking series, 2 of 4. We paid a place to work for them, basically. So, yeah, just shoveled buckets of dead grapes into other buckets. And then they, like, squeeze juice out of them or something. I don't know. I don't know. So that was a part of my weekend. Before we get into the baseball, which we do, and then we'll do the NFL weekend recap, and maybe some pieces of NBA. I thought it might be funny in the next week or so, like maybe next week when baseball's done, maybe we do like an NBA preview with either ourselves or someone. And it's kind of funny that there's like a head start. So it could be a nice little...
You can go get a real idea for some things.
Could be a nice jump for baseball fans that enjoy basketball to get into. Maybe we'll bring someone in. We will see. So my first Jakey story of the day, I went to my favorite bodega. The guy's super nice. Me and him, we kind of just jive. I don't know how else to say it. I don't see him a lot. I only go to that bodega if I'm getting a breakfast Sammy, which I'm trying to shy away from. You can't be going brekkie Sammy every day. And my guy was like, how you doing, man? You know, he's catching up. What's going on, boss man? And then he kind of paused and he goes, what do you do again? And I was like, oh, it's kind of like a sports media company. He's like, wait, do you live in the Bronx? I was like, oh, I work in the Bronx. Like, our office is over here. So he pauses and he goes, so do you, like, coach? And I, like, laughed and I was like, no, I wouldn't say that. I would not say that I coach. I said, I was trying to put it into words that could make it easier. I was kind of like, closer to ESPN than coaching. And And he was like, "Oh, okay. He's like, I don't really do baseball. I moved to the country when I was 22. It's kind of not my thing." He's like, "I want to get more into sports because my son likes them and I want to bond with him." And I was like, "Whoa, this is kind of heavy to be talking about this morning." And so I was like, "So what's your sport? Soccer?" He goes, "Yeah, soccer, Barca." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And he's like, "If you could look this up for me," he said, "Barcelona has a training facility somewhere in New York." And I was like, "Okay." So I don't know if it's New York City. I think there's a couple soccer training things in the United States, like academies. And I think there's one in Long Island. Is that Barca? Is it someone else? He said Cristiano Ronaldo has one in Florida. So if anyone knows about soccer academies, reach out. I think BBD's researching it a little bit now, but
Yeah, I think I found something.
okay. So, with all that being said, second one is just a dumb Jake story. My phone is almost dead. I have it on a charger now. It's funny. I was going to the bathroom, so I was like, "Oh, I got to bring my phone." Like everyone else, bring my phone to the bathroom. But it was so close to dying, I didn't want to use it. So I was just looking at me not using the phone, just holding a dead phone. And that was like that was kind of a dark moment for me. So, with all that being said, we can now get into the sports.
Seems like they at least have some sort of office on like 46th and Park.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
the best I could find right now.
That's huge. Let's talk about the baseball as we are for sure in the final week. We weren't sure if we were going to have baseball when we came back. We were pretty confident. Well, we were pretty confident, and then Friday and Saturday happened. The Braves, man. Truist Park was rocking. Good for them. Going from sterile shopping mall, Bill Plaschke, to what they're doing now. Good for them. Atlanta was a lot of fun. I do think not a lot of people are talking about how really big last night was for the Astros. I guess we have Talking Baseball coming up after this. But they came back from Grand Slam, 4-0. Yeah. Elimination game, World Series in Atlanta to bring it back to Houston. That's pretty nutty, man. Like that's a big boy performance. So if you have no idea, the last time we checked in with you was Thursday. The series was tied at 1. Atlanta won a 2-0 game. Friday night. Ian Anderson. I'm trying to think. There was something I was really passionate about this weekend. Maybe it was Ian Anderson and how good he has been. That needs to be talked about. His playoff stats are stupid. So Braves win Friday 2-0. They 2-hit the Astros, and both hits were like shit's weak. They go into Saturday, and this was one of the better games of the playoffs so far. It was 2-0 Houston. It's 2-1 Houston. Dansby and Soler go back-to-back. Pretty awesome World Series moment. Eddie Rosario makes a catch out of his butt, basically. Braves win 3-2. Will Smith, the closer for them, has been so good. He's hasn't allowed a run this postseason. 10 innings, 10 appearances. So it all led up to yesterday. Game 5, Braves, 3-1 lead. You know, in Atlanta, they still don't like those words. as much as they pretend it doesn't bother them. And man, first inning, old thick Adam Duvall, he's always on the Braves. He goes opposite field, grand slam in the first inning off of Framber. Framber only throws 47 pitches. His ERA this World Series is 19.29. So that's insane. Tucker Davidson got the start for the Braves, which was another... Oh, I know. I know what I wanted to be passionate about, BBD. I'm going to turn the air on. Dad's getting hot.
Please.
All right. This would be, if this show was official, like, if we had to run things by ESPN bosses before we did the show, I would tell them my big passionate hook would be how bad for baseball no starting pitchers are. And I said this on the live stream the other day, so I'll try to make this as concise as possible. Baseball is doing great. We try to tell you this all the time. Our company is doing well. We've built a company basically out of baseball. Team values are skyrocketing. Players are getting paid more. TV deals are massive. Like, do the math. Do all of the math on baseball. Baseball's doing really well. Baseball's critique from the outside world is that it doesn't have national star power, and they're right. And you hope a couple guys can do it. You hope Shohei can be a worldwide star. You hope Tatis can do special things. Aaron Judge, if you won a World Series, I think a lot more people would know Aaron Judge. We'll see who else is next and on their way up. But the biggest thing that I think baseball is missing right now, and so this is the first comparison, NBA basketball. Michael Kay has said this a lot, so I'm kind of stealing this part. Michael Kay, when his young son watches basketball games, I think he says, like, where's LeBron, where's KD? They have the ball in their hands pretty much every possession. They're shooting, they're passing, they're rebounding, they're playing defense. They are always in the action. Baseball, Aaron Judge might only come up 4 times. And if he gets walked or if they're in, non-important spots, those at-bats are bleh. So that's kind of stolen from Michael Kay. The other thing football has, and we'll be talking some Mike White later, you turn on the game and you kind of know the quarterback that's going to have their ball in their hand the whole time. I mean, go up and down the NFL. How many of those guys do you not know their story? I'll bring up some NFL standings quick. And this is a sports show, but a lot of you listening are sports fans. And you could do this same thing. Josh Allen in Buffalo, you're probably familiar with him, the Wyoming guy. He was really good last year. Buffalo loves him. Mac Jones, Patriots, is he the next Tom Brady? Tua on the Dolphins, he was huge at Alabama. We'll see what happens in the NFL. Zach Wilson, you could be a sports fan and kind of not know him, but he could also be, if he's good, he would be a New York star. Lamar Jackson, Heisman stuff, how good he's been, playoff games. Joe Burrow, Heisman stuff, the up-and-coming Bengals, who Poppy had. Ben Roethlisberger, you've known him for 20 years. Baker Mayfield, Heisman stuff. Browns, he's on commercials. Titans, Tannehill, well, not so much, to be completely honest. But Derrick Henry, you might be familiar with him, and he's breaking some news right now because he might have broken his foot. So I don't want to use...
I saw foot injury, don't know.
I don't want to say double breaking because that kind of felt mean. Carson Wentz on the Colts. Massive draft pick, was in Philly. Trevor Lawrence was one of the biggest college prospects ever. Clemson, national champs. Houston Texans, Deshaun. Clemson, okay.
Might be known for some other stuff.
Derek Carr with the Raiders, yeah, you kind of get by. I mean, it's kind of whatever. They're 5-2. Whoops. Herbert and the Chargers, that doesn't help the case. Mahomes, that really helps the case. He's a massive superstar. Teddy Two Gloves, I talk about that too much. Dak Prescott. I mean, that was the whole AFC. The NFC is the same thing, people. Each quarterback has a story that you kind of know if you're a sports fan. We're watching the World Series, and we're a Framber pod. Love Framber. Goes 2.2, kind of gets rocked. Tucker Davidson? Who was the guy before him? I'm blanking on his name.
Dylan Lee.
Dylan Lee.
First started in any game since 2017.
That's just... I don't know. You know, baseball breathes conversation. I know that's one of Jimmy's favorite things about baseball. I think that's a Bob Costas line. The conversations around pitching right now just ain't fun. And it's that football quarterback effect. You know, when you turned on an old playoff game, let's go back to, you know, Yankees-Braves in the old days. You know, Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz. Those, it's almost illegal to bring those guys up, but, you know, the Yankees teams, Andy Pettitte. I mean, even like A.J. Burnett, CC Sabathia, like, even like the better example would be the guys this postseason like Nathan Eovaldi. Like, that's still a fun conversation. Like, yeah, he's always had the arm talent. He's starting to figure it out. He pitched that one crazy game for Boston. Double Tommy John. Like, the starting pitcher narratives are some of the more fun parts of baseball, and it's just missing right now. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, I love baseball, and I always preface, or I guess postface. You don't hear a lot of people postface. Baseball's in a good spot. The product is really good. The guys are super talented. So whenever you hear me or anyone complaining about shifts or starting pitchers or whatever it is, it's to improve the game even more, increase the margins. In baseball, man, that's just a tough spot right now. Dylan Lee, even Kyle Wright, like him pitching 4.2, at least there's a fun convo there. Like, he's a pretty legit prospect. He's been hurt. Vandy Boy
had that playoff game last year.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
There's a narrative to learn.
Tucker Davidson and Dylan Lee.
I mean, even in that game last night, I mean, Drew Smyly pitched the last 3 innings. Not that it's quite the same as the other guys, but at least there's something. He also, started a lot of games in his career.
Right. Got a nice contract this year for Drew Smyly. So I don't know. I know we've talked about this on here. We've talked about it on Talking Baseball. The one out-of-the-box creative idea that always gets me is when you pull your starting pitcher, you lose the DH. That might be a hybrid way to make baseball a little better and encourage starting pitching. And it's like a little NL twist.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an NL truist,
it would encourage starting pitching, but I also don't like that.
Right, because teams would try to navigate it in a bad way, and
we figure out.
We just want the good players hitting and stuff. So I don't know. And I see James Reinhardt saying, I agree with your point, but is the conversation much different with Soroka and around? Yeah, but like, every team has injuries. They were going, obviously they lost Morton in game 1. Right. Charlie Morton, in
night.
theory, should have been pitching last night.
And they had other teams. But every team's got injuries throughout the year.
Houston, you could point to Verlander and
the Colors.
Colors. So
Greinke hasn't been healthy in a while. He's pitching, but
I like the spin zone.
But I mean, every team, if they were healthy, the teams are supposed to still have, 5 guys you trust to start a playoff game, and then if 3 of them are around at the end of the year, that's your playoff rotation.
And Kyle Wright's outing would be a lot more cooler if we were talking about him as Kyle Wright got the start.
He started, gave him 4.2 pretty clean innings, and
so I don't know. I don't have the perfect answer, so I'm trying to be as honest with you guys as possible, but just compare it to other sports, because that's what the other sports do. We know this. That's why baseball wants more playoff teams, because they see that the NBA has 16 teams get in. And, if you don't like that, that's fine, but the leagues compare themselves to each other. So I don't know. Baseball needs to figure something out, and I don't know what it is. All that being said, the Astros last night come back. Adam Duvall, grand slam in the first inning. Astros punch back in the second, which is super important.
Get something back immediately.
When we start figuring out J-War, I think punch back innings, responsive innings, those are more valuable than
cutting leads from 4-2
and right away, bottom of the first to top of the second, Bregman double. And I think that's the other thing that you got to circle right now. Correa has some RBIs in this game. Bregman with the RBI double after he gets slid down the lineup and he's been sad boy mode.
Slid down the lineup. He makes that error in the first inning that leads the bases to get loaded in the grand slam, and then he has a great rest of the game. Yeah.
And by the way, the Braves bullpen has been, big story in all this. AJ Minter, well, he got hit last night. The Astros bullpen last night. They do what? 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.1 shutty. So, all that stuff about starting pitcher. The Braves bullpen did awesome last night. And they bring it back to Houston after being down 4-0 in an elimination game. That's huge. That's massive. So the Braves are lined up. We are officially on Trevor Plouffe Braves in 6 watch. I mean, there was some rumor mill late night. I know Trev had a couple daiquiris in his system, but trying to rope him out here. Because I think it's... If the Braves win tomorrow, we're going to go nuts. We're going to try to get Trevor on Good Morning America as the bidet Nostradamus. So BI 6, Braves in 6, Trevor Plouffe season. They will have Max Fried on the mound. He kind of got hit the other day. It's going to be exciting. Talking baseball coming up after this. Braves are lined up with Fried and Morton. Astros are going... They moved up Luis Garcia. They said that, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they officially announced it, but Rosenthal asked Dusty after the game, and he said probably Garcia. So that means definitively Garcia.
Yeah,
I would assume. Well, I guess not every team talks like the Yankees, but different.
Yeah, and we I don't know. We were giving Dusty a little love, saying we like him, telling his guy you're gonna get it. So we'll see. I'm gonna have another sip of my drink. And I'm back. So, that's where the baseball's at. I mean, still good for the Braves. If you told Braves fans you were going to win 2 out of 3 at home, any Braves fan would have taken that. 3-2 series lead, 2 games to play. Big Game 6 for the Braves, for Trevor Plouffe, for John Boy Media.
And as is, you're obviously going for a World Series. You're in a tough emotional state. You were already up 3-1 and now have to go back. But and just forcing the Game 7 until that game's over, either way, the result almost doesn't matter. That's just a torture chamber, especially for that city.
Atlanta, that's had a little bit of recent sports history stuff going on. You know, those pictures of all the champagne outside the locker room and that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Up 3-1.
Win Game 6.
Up 4-0 in a 3-1 lead game.
Win Game 6. Baseball is a 6-6 sport, and we talked about it a little bit with Justin Shackle on the live stream that For some reason, this year has felt like the swings have been bigger. I don't know if it's just mental from not having a full year of baseball last year, but remember the Astros-Red Sox series? Like, game 1, it was like, oh, Astros are probably going to run away with it. Game 2, Boston won, and everyone was like, I think Boston's got the leg up. Game 3, the Red Sox won. It was like, this series is over.
Yeah, they went back-to-back definitive games. And
done. And then Astros ride out the rest of the series and dominate. The Astros, especially the feeling when Adam Duvall hits that grand slam to go up 4-0, when the Braves had been dominating them for the last 2 days of baseball, it felt like the Astros were dead. It felt like a team that was going to lose the World Series 4-1, a gentleman's sweep. Instead, they come back. They're going back to Houston. So, I don't know. I feel like we haven't fully appreciated that yet. Braves in 6. Trevor Plouffe. BI6. BI6. That is the baseball for now. Interested to see what else we stumble into for TB later.
Yes, I mean, is this the last episode of the show with new baseball still to come?
The next
Definitively over.
Wake
right?
and Jake, we will 1,000% know the World Series champion. And that's going to lead to a whole get ready to read everyone's CBA tweets. We'll get to start dreaming about baseball offseason a little bit. Those massive free agent shortstops really come to life. They haven't done that yet. I did a little shortstop math on my Twitter the other day. It kind of adds up. There's going to be 1 or 2 teams that get left without a shortstop, but I think they're going to be teams we don't care about. Like, in theory, the Washington Nationals, I think, are a player. They've got a big budget.
They've always been a team pretty willing to spend, and they have a hole there. But
I think that's what's really interesting. Like, the Texas Rangers, a lot of teams are going to be in the shortstop game. Because guess what, people? Sure, the Texas Rangers might not be ready to compete next year, but shortstops like this don't become available a lot. So if you're
a couple of guys are going to be good for several more years.
If you're the Texas Rangers GM and your plan is to be good in 2 years, say 3 years, you have to get that shortstop now, pretty much. Like, that's when they're available. Punch my drink. So we're going to have a lot of time.
You can sign one of them now, and you're paying them for 2 years that maybe you're not going to be that good, but you're going to have that guy, and then you don't have to spend prospects to trade for one. Make another trade, or the prospects become good.
Or, hey, maybe the Rangers' strategy is someone else pays massive money for Corey Seager, and you trade for the second half of his contract. So there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. We're going to be able to talk about it all offseason. The chat is excited about Labor Pod. You people are sick puppies. Not a math pod. We will talk all about the baseball offseason during the baseball offseason. BBD, any NBA news we need to know before we do an NFL recap? The Knicks are the best team in basketball.
The Knicks are really good.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. Keep ripping out souls. Not really any full stories have changed.
Yeah, I like our idea of doing a full-blown NBA preview while knowing stuff about the NBA this season.
3 weeks into the season.
Because sneaky stories, I was busting balls with Kyle the other day. I mean, the Sixers aren't the Sixers. I mean, without Ben Simmons, they're missing a guy who's supposed to be a high-level talent. And the Nets are missing Kyrie.
Again, the Knicks are the team I've watched. I always have watched the most of, but there's no Ben Simmons, so they just fucking harass Embiid now.
Yeah. And by the way, Golden State's doing cool, fun stuff, and Clay's close to returning.
Again, yeah.
So I don't know. I think this is a wide open NBA season, which I think true sports fans like that. I think the NBA in ratings does do better when there's a Warriors dynasty or LeBron's team is nasty or whatever it is. But I think the NBA is kind of wide open in a fun way this year.
Can I tell you what the top 3 NBA stories on ESPN are?
Yes, here we go.
So 1 is their updated power rankings. 2, all the City Edition jerseys dropped today.
Sure.
So those are exciting. And number 3 is Bing Bong.
I mean, that's kind of it.
Article about the Knicks' new slogan.
That's kind of it. So that being said, we're gonna have time to circle up on the NBA season. Excuse me.
Number 4, Durant got ejected last night.
Let's do the foosball. American foosball. Monday Night Football tonight. Chiefs G-Men. That's exciting, huh? I did see Bobby Skinner Talking Giants thinks it's going to be a shootout tonight. Hope he's right. That'd be cool. Feel like Daniel Jones, if he is kind of good, which I think everyone sneaky thinks he's kind of good. They just don't know where it lands.
I think everyone that's watched him ultimately has landed at least where I have, where it's I think if he's on a good team, he's good enough.
If you polled NFL fans right now and said who's better, Daniel Jones or Baker Mayfield, I think the vote would come out Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I too close to the situation?
Maybe they'd lean. I guess they'd probably lean Baker just because of the name, and Browns have had 1 or 2 good teams with him.
I'm just really interested. I know Baker's stock is kind of going down right now. We'll talk about the Steelers beat the Browns a little bit, and the Browns are really hurt.
I think Tony's playing tonight for the Giants, so it gives Jones a weapon. I think everyone else is still out.
I guess I'd be really interested to put QBs on paper and see where Daniel Jones would land with the outside population. I'm realizing I might be too close to the situation for the Baker comparison. I guess Baker's done more in the league.
Yeah, he's had a couple playoff games and all that, but
interesting. Well, let's go through it, and we'll find out where Daniel Jones lands before tonight's game. And we'll see how much tonight's game changes him. If you win a shootout against Patrick Mahomes, people look at you differently. Someone in the chat said not top 10 at all. Yeah, no one's debating that. I think
it's is he the bar where it's if he's on your team, you're comfortable with your quarterback situation. I think so. Jones has been decidedly not a problem at all this year, and good.
I guess the question is,
very good games.
Can he land in the quarterback range of guy that can win any NFL week? Could he land in maybe where Matt Ryan's at this point of his career? You don't expect Matt Ryan to be great on a week-to-week basis, but if Matt Ryan
still have a really good game that kind of wins.
If Matt Ryan throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, that doesn't shock you. You're wow, yeah, Matt Ryan can do that.
Matt Ryan found it this week.
We'll circle back on that. I know now the chat's talking about the Andy Dalton line. Yeah, I guess what is the Daniel Jones line? Yeah. I have no idea.
Is he the line?
He could be.
He might be the line.
Let's go through the slate. We'll go back to Thursday night. This was huge. The Packers beat the Cardinals. The Packers without their top 3 receivers, I believe. We gave you the notice, and this isn't Wake and J Crew. We can't steal credit for this. It's just Aaron Rodgers. Speaking of a guy that can win any NFL game, they showed it. The Packers could have made it a bigger win down the stretch. They did not, which led the Cardinals driving, game on the line. They throw it to A.J. Green. Really weird-looking play. Rasul Douglas intercepts it to seal the victory for the Packers. One of those cool NFL stories that comes up, guy was practice squad a week ago, and then he won the game for them, basically. Cardinals get their first loss at home to the Packers. They're both 7-1. And I think when we ran through this last week, and how elite the teams at the top of the NFC are, I think I said if the Cardinals lost, like, gun to your head, if you had to take a playoff game, Rams or Cardinals, who are you taking? I'd love to see that poll. I don't know. I think people like Kyler more than Matt Stafford. I think people like Sean McVay a lot more than Kingsbury. I think the Rams' defense is better.
They probably have the better reputation on defense, but the Cardinals' defense has been really good.
More recent history, the Rams were in a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, who's now on a winless team.
Yeah, they now they've had like a little 4 or 5 year run with this just overall crew, a lot of turnover.
So I know the Buccaneers had a weird loss that we'll talk about in a minute. Would you take, in a playoff game, would you take Kyler Murray and the Cardinals over Tom Brady and the Bucs? No. Would you take Kyler Murray and the Cardinals over Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, who just beat them without their top 3 wide receivers? And it's Aaron Rodgers. Never mind if that game's at Lambeau Field. Saw Jorge in the chat. There was no J.J. Watt in this game, which he is significant. I mean, J.J. Watt still makes a difference. So do your top 3 wide receivers. I think that's, if anything, that's a net neutral trade. So I don't know. Those top 4 teams in the NFC, Cardinals, Rams, Packers, Buccaneers, that sounds like a pretty good playoff weekend to me. If those can be the final 4 teams in the NFC, boogity, boogity, boogity. So Rodgers and the Packers win that game. Kind of weird last play. Cardinals could have easily won it, and we'd be talking about how they are the special team in the NFC this year. They still are. Interested to see now that they have the loss under them. Does that affect them? Is it one of those things that it's kind of a good thing? You don't have to worry about a perfect season. Might be kind of a good test next week at the Niners. You know, Niners haven't been great this year. They're 3-4. They did get a nice win this weekend, but that's a team, if the Cardinals are the class of the NFC, that you have to win. So let's go on to football Sunday. Skipped college football again. I actually watched this weekend again. Michigan State was fun. I guess that was the only thing I watched, so can't really deep dive. Let's do the Sunday slate. Panthers-Falcons. We told you guys this game would have some good highlights. Don't watch it. Kind of didn't have good highlights. Matt Ryan's hand got cut open. That was going around the internet. A lot of blood. Bad fantasy start for him. I know, because I did it. And I debated Carson Wentz all day. Enough about me. Falcons. The mighty Falcons. Just when we started to believe in them, I guess this would be somewhere where I should eat crow. They lose at home to the Panthers, who had just lost 4 in a row. Panthers season is back on. They're 4-4. They're 500. McCaffrey comes back next week. That's exactly what I told you. We told you guys. That's exactly what we'd say about the Panthers. You talk yourself into it. They're 500. Solid defense. McCaffrey's back. The Falcons, this was their chance to get back in the conversation. Hey, Matt Ryan had a really bloody hand that probably affected him a little bit. But this was still a game at home that you kind of had to win. Couple bad interceptions. Falcons, yeah. I was starting to drink a little bit of Falcon Kool-Aid. I really was. Instead, maybe I'm drinking Carson Wentz Kool-Aid. Although he lost too and he looked awful, so I'm not. Maybe I'm just realizing now my fantasy quarterback situation's fucked. Bills beat the Dolphins 26-11. Didn't watch a lot of this game. It was kind of close. Bills run away late with it. Josh Allen had a nice rushing touchdown. Cole Beasley has a big day, which kind of makes nobody happy at this point. Bills win 26-11. Bills, we told you guys the other day, the Vegas odds already had them easily winning that division. They're in a real easy stretch, and not a confident win, but a win. Niners. We'll see how impactful this is next week. They beat up on the Bears in Chicago 33-22. Garoppolo has a decent day in the air. Deebo Samuel, 171. Mitchell, the running back for the Niners, he has a nice day. People are liking him in the Fantasty world. Good for the Niners. They can introduce themselves back to this season if they beat the Cardinals and get to 500 next week. Or they drop to 3-5 and we don't care, just like the Bears did. My Steelers beat the Browns. I try telling you people. Tomlin, Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh. The defense is starting to play really well. It's an ugly game, 15-10. The Steelers, we'll check with our research department. I can guarantee you the Steelers have the most 15-10 victories in NFL history. That is such a Steelers win. Like, you're nervous, but you're also not nervous. Big Ben just does just enough. I know it's not pretty. They're 4-3. Najee Harris looks good. I like Pittsburgh's skill positions. The fake field goal, Boswell gets murdered. Chris Long had the good tweet, like, if you're someone like me that says, hey, what would it look like if you played NFL football? Probably like that. That was still one of my favorite games to play. If you got 10 NFL carries, what's your final stat line? I usually land at 10 carries, 12 yards, 8 fumbles. I mean, be honest with yourself. But you're not holding on to the ball if a 250-pound man hits you hard.
One of the dudes that, like, is just goes up and just, like, purposely is going for stripping you. That's, like, his whole thing.
They're different. I am not an NFL athlete. That's confirmed. That is confirmed. And, yeah, the Browns season is really swirling. They're 500. Baker hasn't been playing great. They have a ton of injuries. Like, the Browns are very much in danger of falling into this year's injured team. So we'll see. Let's see what their schedule looks like. Let's get into the Browns. Browns have the Bengals coming up at Cincinnati. Then at New England, and then the Lions. So if you find a way to win Bengals-Patriots game, Browns, then you win the Lions game, you're 6-5. You're in a good spot. Then they play the Ravens back-to-back. Ravens, bye-week Ravens. That kind of sucks for the Ravens.
They get...
You have to play the same
then
team?
2 weeks to prepare to play you again?
But they just get to rest? That's not cool. Come on, NFL. What do the Ravens have to do? They go Browns, Steelers, Browns. That sucks. That's a weird one. Has that happened before? Man, sometimes that's why I like clicking on the schedules. You never know what you're going to get there. Meanwhile, the Steelers 4-3, and they are, what do they have coming up next? Bears, Lions. Could you be looking at the Steelers being 6-3? Pretty easily. Bears game is Sunday Night Football? Monday Night Football? I mean, don't be surprised if Big Ben drops Dick in that game. I've just seen this play out before. The Lions are so bad. We'll talk about them. That sucks. You know what? We're already here. Eagles beat the Lions 44-6. My God.
Lions all week we're saying, this feels like our chance
This
for
was
a
the
win.
chance.
Eagles at home. Oh.
I don't know, man. I feel really bad. I always want to root for the Dan Campbell, the kind of meathead football coach that says we're going to bite your leg off and scrap for every inch. Just never seems to work. just never seems to work. And, hey, these Lions weren't supposed to be great, and they were so close in a couple games. But I don't know. What do you do? Doesn't seem like Campbell's the guy. None of the quarterbacks coming out this year are, like, special.
Not to my understanding. I haven't heard about them yet, so it probably means
it's
no.
like a storyline, like
there's not the quarterback
in
this
college
year.
football, NFL draft circles, that like there isn't a guy.
Not a quarterback.
Like there's potential. People have talked about. I don't think it'll happen, but there could not be like a first round quarterback, which I don't think that's ever has that ever happened.
Someone
can't. Like someone will.
Wants
That's just how it works.
There's been a couple of years that there's only been like one first rounder, I think, but like Drew Brees, he was like the second round pick, but Vic went one and he was the second quarterback taken.
Yeah,
I think we did that on the Brees retired episode.
So, and yeah, Kat, I see you in the chat. Goff isn't really the problem, but doesn't help. Yeah, I mean it's not a good team, and they were close in some games, but
what
Goff got on that team is not the answer.
Lions' best chance, just based on records and whatever information we've got to play the games, but they're on the road, Steelers, Browns, and then home for Bears, Vikings back-to-back weeks. So
okay,
like one of those is their chance to not do it again.
I think they'll win a game.
Probably. It's just it's hard to lose every game.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, I'm saying this. They just got embarrassed at home by the Eagles, who aren't a good football team. But, like, it's a team that should win a game. They don't feel that bad. We'll see. We'll see. I wonder, NFL trade deadline's coming up. We'll see if we get any Deshaun news. We'll see if a team like the Lions gets pillaged. I mean, NFL doesn't really work like that.
Yeah.
But... and I heard it was going to be quiet, too, because the NFL cap went down. So a lot of teams don't have, like, cap room.
I feel like we had, like, a way more early season trades anyway this year. Or at least I noticed more. So it's like, I don't know.
We'll see.
Feels like a lot of teams took care of their business a little bit. Not that the trade deadline's ever crazy.
Yeah, it's just, it's not what the NFL does. Here, one of the fun games. We said this was going to be a fun game. Titans-Colts goes to overtime, 31-31. Titans win in OT. Wentz with two of the worst interceptions late that you'll see. Hiccup in a football game. The lefty pass from his own end zone. It's kind of one of those, like, dude, if that thought ever comes through your mind, something's not right. And I don't know. I'm kind of bummed out because I liked what the Colts have been building up to. They had a chance to win this game. I think Jonathan Taylor's really good. I thought Wentz was getting better. He had, like, a really long no-interception streak, and then he screwed the pooch on it. And then today, the 6-2 Titans, who were kind of entering the top class of the AFC, it's looking like Derrick Henry is going to be out for the year. So we'll see. We'll see if we get news on that. He's awesome. And, hey, if he goes down and the Titans start sucking, that might be a good nod to running backs can be important. Because running backs are fun. We love good running backs. Speaking of, the Jets beat the Bengals. Poppy Gordo was giving himself some pats on the back, reminded by BBD, because kind of totally forgot. And our guy Robbie Scirocco made a nice little clip of it this morning. It's just an NFL thing. I don't know how else to describe it. The Bengals were getting a ton of love. Are they the class of the NFL? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. They go into MetLife and play the Jets with backup quarterback Mike White. Backup, that word could be gone. You play a couple good games. That's all it takes in the NFL. Michael Carter, the running back for the Jets. He's fun. 15 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Mike White threw for 405 against that Cincinnati defense that everyone was starting to get excited about. Jets win 34-31 at home. They're 2-5, 2-1 at home. Does that matter? I don't know. And Bengals, yeah, like that's just how the NFL works, man. That's how the NFL works. Like you lose your edge for a week, and that happens. I didn't think the Jets were necessarily going to win. I thought it would be a game, and it was. I also didn't think Mike White would throw for 400 yards. That was not in my book. Not in my book. I don't know. I hope it becomes a conversation. Like, I hope Mike White keeps just dropping it. How fun would that be? Unless you're Zach Wilson.
Less fun.
Good for the Jets. And, like, I don't want to say good for the Bengals because that's such a soft move, and Bengals fans would be really mad to hear that. But, like, the team almost had to go through this. Like, this, I would check a box.
Yep. They still put up a ton of points. Like,
all right, it's not like this team quit or anything, or they just got killed. Like,
they didn't get, like, embarrassed at the party.
They didn't get embarrassed at the party.
I don't live in a hotel.
And yeah, some of the Mike White stuff is fun. It's like first Jets QB to throw for 400, and I think I saw Testaverde thrown out there. So yeah, good for the Jets. There's going to be a lot of people like not slandering the Bengals, but being really tough on them. They kind of needed this, and we just saw they have the Browns coming up at home. Maybe that woke them up for this game, which is more important to them than a Jets game. I'll be honest with you. And then they're at Oakland, Steelers, Chargers, Niners, Broncos, Ravens, Chiefs, Browns. Interesting. No easy games. Browns at Raiders, Steelers, Chargers, Niners. Niners at home, depending how their season goes. At Broncos, Ravens, Chiefs, Browns. Bengals, I don't know. That if they finish like 11-7, 11-6,
yeah.
Even 10-7, I would circle that Jets one as maybe like a good potential wake-up call. Or if their season goes down the drain, say we got too excited about the Bengals. I don't know. I think that's going to be good thing is the wrong term. But I think that's going to keep them on their toes, especially next week. Browns. That game is more important to them. How about a little Jakey preview? Take the Bengals to cover next week. Analytics. That brings us Rams, Texans. Rams dominate. They were up 38-0 on the Texans. I mean, yeah. There's nothing really to say there. Rams are good. Texans are awful and missing their star quarterback who nobody knows when he'll play football again or if it'll be with the Texans. Rams handled their business. That's something a good team does. So this is a result I thought I heard, but I wasn't sure. The Patriots beat the Chargers. Man, that is the definition of the Chargers. It really is. Like, I hate to say it, I think we're 2 or 3 weeks removed from people talking about if Justin Herbert's better than Mahomes. And they just lost to the Patriots. Was it after their bye week? I think.
Yeah.
And then the Patriots, Mac Jones. I mean, the defense gets a pick 6. Adrian Phillips against his former team. That's fun. The Patriots are 4-4. 3-0, 4-0, 3-0 on the road. Road Warrior Patriots. How about that?
Wow.
Chargers are 4-3, and like people wanted them to be an exciting team. They still could be, but I mean, this is a big step back for them.
It's back-to-back, like, bad games from
Ravens
Herbert.
blew them out. Patriots beat them close at home. They go to the Eagles next week, which that could be a season ender if they don't win that one. If you're 4-4 and you lost 3 in a row, Eagles, Patriots, Ravens. Yeah, I don't know, Chargers. People really wanted to like you guys, and I think that's a tough look now. Brandon Fuderick in the chat. They haven't beaten the Pats in 9 years, and like that kind of sums it up. God, I have to reach out. One of my friends, Kelly Nolan, used to work with, big Chargers fan. She reached out after our preseason prediction episode. Because I think I said a couple lines like, I just don't believe in the Chargers, never have. And she was like, this year could be different. And I was like, I don't know. Doesn't feel different right now. Feels like a Chargers season.
Yeah. Feels like one of the Chargers' good seasons where they're almost good.
My Broncos. They beat the Washington football team in a game I could have told you was going to be an ugly score, 17-10. They do just enough. Melvin Gordon with 2 TDs or 1 TD? Let me double check.
Could be one of each.
Yeah, I thought he had a receiving and a rushing, right?
Yeah. Rushing.
So good for him. 2-touchdown game for Melvin Gordon. Speaking of guys, we forget how quickly running backs move. Melvin Gordon was a stud in this league. Is still young. Yeah. I mean, Melvin Gordon's 28, so, running backs, we start getting scared when they get close to 30, but Melvin Gordon still plays football. Hot takes only. Teddy Two Gloves does enough. Classic Bridgewater game, 19 for 26, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. That's Teddy Bridgewater in a nutshell. My Broncos win. They're 500. I'm not excited. If they sneak into a playoffs, that's kind of cool. That means the defense is good and Fangio's good, or Fangio's all right. I don't know. Just feels like the Broncos, I'll say it again, it feels like when they do the NFL final 2 weeks of the season, and it's like, this team they need to win and they're in. This team needs to win and they need this team to lose. The Broncos are going to be the last team on the list, and it's like, they're not technically eliminated. They need to win.
5 things to happen.
Yeah. It just feels like they're going to land there. We'll see. Washington football team, they are a disappointment. 2-6. Their defense was supposed to be special, and it's just not. I mean, they lost Fitzmagic, but is Heineke really that different? I don't know. 2-6, Washington football team. I think I had them as my dark horse in the East. Yikes. Seahawks 31-7. Jaguars are just so bad and just couldn't care less. Like, it's Trevor Lawrence. The Urban Meyer thing has really, killed all the vibes there. And I had somebody at the wine thing yesterday ask me, they're like, do we get to start calling Trevor Lawrence bad? And it's like, no, it's Joe Burrow rules. Rookie quarterback, you can basically do anything.
Obviously, if you're good, that's better, but...
Yeah, the game, it just takes a while to click. So, as long as Trevor Lawrence is out there healthy and he doesn't look awful.
He looks like he knows what he's trying to do.
Trevor Lawrence, 32 for 54, 238 and a touchdown. That's not a good stat line, but for a rookie QB, throwing it 54 times is brutal. And it's also not a bad stat line.
It's not a specifically bad. Has he had
Ooh, I like that, BBD.
Bad
Let's
stat
see.
line yet?
Trevor Lawrence game log. We are in it. Let's see. His worst game looks like it was his second week versus Denver.
Yeah, that one's bad.
So that's his second week. 14 for 33, 118 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. That's bad. Everything else... And he's kind of trending upwards.
He's at least, by stats, been fine and, trending up.
The touchdown...
First game was good.
Touchdown to interception ratio is meh. It's 8 to 9, so that's not good.
Yeah.
It's not like there's not a horrible game in there.
Yeah, the one, but
there's one horrible game. His second week as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah,
against a good defense. So yeah, I guess we'll still monitor Trevor Lawrence. Here's what I'd like to happen. I'd like to be excited for Trevor Lawrence next year. So go take the USC job, Urban Meyer.
Be cool for if he ends the year well enough. Yeah, for people to talk about him positively going into next.
Just so out on Urban.
This year doesn't matter.
Urban does nothing for me. And yeah, still, as noted on here and in the chat, Jaguars only win in Europe.
Yeah,
not in the States.
Haven't won in the States.
I guess the one that's the surprise game from yesterday, shocker story. One of the stories: the Bucs lose to the Saints. The Jameis Winston revenge game, Saints versus Bucs. Saints defense does enough early on that this game is 16-7 at the half. And then they hold on late. Jameis Winston gets hurt. He has to leave this game. Who comes in? Former Jets and Broncos legend, Trevor Siemian. And he does enough, 16 for 29, 1 touchdown. Where's Taysom Hill? I wanted to Google this. Is he hurt? Taysom Hill injury. Taysom Hill expected to clear concussion protocol week 9.
And I know in the past they've said anyway, like if Winston went out, Simeon would be the guy who replaces him because Taysom Hill's part of their game plan to do with all the trick stuff. You guys are playing with balls. And
ball stuff.
But if Winston's gonna be out several weeks, they like Taysom Hill to be the quarterback if they have a week to prep.
Yeah, and at least that's a fun watch.
Yeah.
When he's coming full time, some ball stuff. That was John Boy in the office, first time in a couple days, so that's exciting stuff. Gonna give him a big kiss on the nose. Little ball. Good for the Saints. They're 5-2. I didn't mention them when we're talking about good teams. I still don't think they deserve that yet. But if Taysom looks entertaining and they can keep winning some games, Michael Thomas is supposed to come back at some point.
Yeah, maybe he'll go back to being good.
They still have Kamara, Sean Payton. I think the secret in New Orleans is their defense is pretty good. Falcons, Titans, Eagles. I mean, that feels like at least 2 wins. So that would be the 7-3 New Orleans Saints. Good for them. Nobody's drinking the Saints Kool-Aid, and I think they're definitely a tier below the other NFC good teams. But
there's definitely, looking at their defensive stats, just a lot of names you'd recognize.
And I think they're in a class of their own. So you've got Cowboys, Cardinals, Rams, Packers, Bucks. 5 really good NFC teams. There's no middle area. It's only the Saints. After them, it's Panthers, Vikings, Falcons, Niners. Those Saints are the only middler team right now. Good for them. Tom Brady and the Bucks lose. Doesn't matter.
Pick at the end, but Tom Brady's still Tom.
Doesn't really matter to them. And this is another one that feels kind of impactful. The Cowboys win the Sunday night game. I obviously wasn't dialed in for this. We were streaming. But no Dak Prescott. And the Cowboys sucked ass without Dak last year. Cooper Rush. Everyone's talking about how he has a good backup quarterback name. He has a good game.
Great backup quarterback.
Great backup quarterback name. 325, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 24 for 40. Yeah. Amari Cooper with the big game. Cowboys win on the road versus the Vikings coming off their bye week. And this was just the typical happens 4 times a year where you're like, I think Kirk Cousins sucks.
He's full bad.
But then he has 3 games a year where he's lights out. So I don't know.
Most of those middle games are at least pretty good.
I don't know what you do with that. I do know the Cowboys are 6-1 and a legit 6-1, and we thought that could happen, but you just don't believe it till it does happen with the Cowboys. They're good. They're good, right? That's the NFL.
If that's not true, then that other stuff isn't true.
Giants, Chiefs tonight, kind of where we started. I guess we didn't play the Daniel Jones game throughout. I guess we got more off-season. Baseball ends soon, so we'll be able to play that game. Daniel Jones or Jameis Winston for one game.
I like Jones.
It's a fun one, right?
Jameis can fully implode, so Jones, I believe in his ability to not suck.
Yeah, that depends on the team
Not
a
lose
little
a game
bit.
by himself.
I don't know.
But Jameis can go win a game. But I don't know. I like Jameis.
I don't know. I think that'll be a fun
convo.
That'll be a fun. Maybe that'll be in just a standalone episode coming up this offseason. We'll do a lot of those, I think, as baseball ends. Those were some of our best episodes this year with the draft stuff. So we'll do some drafts. We'll do some topics. I think we'll do, the Monday episodes before football. I think those are really good. People like that. We'll see as we go. That's the sports for now. I don't understand hockey. I don't think there was any extra sports activity like golf or Olympics or anything like that. Gary Patterson leaves TCU. He's a good football coach. Michigan State was fun. Michigan State won, if you care. That's about it. We'll go to the comment of the day. Bakers, I ask you guys to bake the algorithm. What does that mean, Jake? That means leave a comment. Leave a review. Hit the thumbs up button. Share with a friend. Baking the algorithm, anything you do helps the program. We got a lot of people in here right now. Thank you guys. From last episode, the World Series was tied at 1 apiece. That feels forever ago. Crazy how quick baseball goes. Our guy, Tom Ace, who's in almost everything we do, we got to meet him the other day. He said, Jake, meeting you, Jimmy, BBD, Zach, and the JM crew last week was stepping through my iPad screen and into the chocolate factory. Absolute dream come true. Thank you for all the goodness you guys do. Rock on forever. Tom Ace, you are the best. Austin Brown. BBD, we've forgotten yet again. I listen to the podcast at 2 times speed, so I'm looking forward to when the intro is played at 1.5 times speed. I get some supersonic 3 times Wake and Jake speed. Not sure of the math on that. That's pretty crazy. And Bruce Lambert, my guy, says, Jake, I think you're officially not a Broncos fan. I see what you're saying. I've been pretty tough on Teddy and that team. It's just the future. That team doesn't have a future right now. Goff or Teddy Bridgewater, one game.
Ooh. Teddy.
Think so?
Yeah.
Is it a conversation?
I haven't watched a lot of Goff, but I've watched enough Teddy Bridgewater good games. Just
if you swap teams, if Goff was on the Broncos and Teddy was on Detroit,
spots.
I think it's the same, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. So yeah, I hate my Broncos. Thank you guys for everything you do. Subscribe. We're at 455K subscribers. Awesome.
Tom Mace, who just talked about meeting. If you're in a throuple, tell the other 2 to like and subscribe.
Yes, that would be the easiest way to get that up. So thank you guys. Keep baking the algorithm.
Calling the other 2 is good.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Bro of the night. We'll be quick. We got to start setting up for talking baseball. I'll do Mike White, man. Good for him. Quarterback out of Western Kentucky. Kind of as bland as a name as you can have. Sorry, Mike White. It's a quarterback. And yeah, I said it as part of my little teaser. Like, he played the other week and he didn't look awful, which, again, if you're a backup quarterback, that's kind of hard to do. A lot of backup quarterbacks just look bad. He threw for 400. The stat line's awesome. And I don't know. It's obviously not a controversy as of now. Zach Wilson's so young.
Invested in that.
He's only played a couple games. If Mike White can keep playing good and make it a story, awesome.
Kind of going to have to play somewhere.
And they, I'm such a sucker for this, but they did the whole, they gave him the game ball and all the guys were psyched for him and stuff. And it's just like, that's really cool. Yeah. That's an emotion that Mike White didn't know if he was ever going to get in the NFL. Like, winning a game and throwing for 400, get the game ball.
Yeah, the people, like the line about him going around, it's like, he's been on NFL rosters the last 4 years. It's just this is his first time getting a game. And
maybe the NFL's due for one of those. The NFL hasn't had like a Kurt Warner or a late bloomer recently, right?
There's been kind of a lot of, or even beyond late bloomers.
I guess Tannehill.
Yeah, it's probably the closest. But even like you don't sit quarterbacks for a year anymore, really, because they're like there's almost like too much emphasis. Like, hey, if they're supposed to be good,
if they'll be good, they'll be good.
We kind of need them to just be good, and we got to use the time while they're cheap and
Right. That's the advantage in the NFL now. If you have a QB on their rookie
deal,
that's the advantage. So good for Mike White. Kudos to him. BBD, you got a Burrell?
Yeah, I'm going for another homer pick. It's RJ Barrett.
Huge.
Drops a career high 35 on New Orleans. Zion didn't play, but it's Zion's team.
6 of 8 from 3, something like
6
that.
6 of 8 from 3, 12 of 18 overall, 5 of 6 of his free throws, 8 boards, 6 assists, and took over the last 2.5 minutes of that game. Throwing lobs to Mitch,
like that.
Just doing everything. And he's been playing great defense all year. All the talk was the quote he had preseason was I want to make an all defense team. That feels like my next individual accomplishment would be to go for that. And he's obviously it's so early in the season. If the voting were today, he'd be on one.
Right. But. And I saw this, and this is really unfair to this guy. Cade Cunningham made his NBA debut. 19 minutes, 2 points. 7 rebounds, 2 assists. So,
injured. And
when you remember how young RJ Barrett is and kind of what he's actually been doing, RJ Barrett's on a really good trajectory.
Yeah, he gets a weird reputation for his rookie year being bad, and it wasn't. He was
really weird.
Fully snubbed from all rookie stuff. His biggest crime is just not being Zion or Ja. Ja's really good, sure.
Yeah.
He's undersized in the defense stuff, but
RJ's got an argument.
Zion can't play games.
I love Zion, so
I really like Zion. It's not a criticism, but
won't get me there.
But RJ's been healthy and good,
yeah. Okay, I like that. All right, people. That was, your last baseball season, Wake and Jake. Yeah. We will know the World Series champion when we see you next time on Thursday. Holy cow. Holy Toledo's. And then maybe we'll become a semi-labor pod. We'll see. Talking baseball coming up. Mentioned the Knicks. Talking Knicks episode just dropped. Pinstripe Strong, JJTV, Mansplain, Ashland. What a weekend for her. Went to the World Series. New Rose rotation?
Probably.
If you haven't listened to Glass Now and Brawl, you have to do that. You have to do that. That's a demand.
Now there's another one soon.
That's a demand. Some of those breakdowns are pretty cool videos. Check out everything.
Compound Josh Donaldson interview. Episode, I think, coming later today or tomorrow or something.
Yes.
But that JD.
Me and Ian Happ kind of beefing. Rumor mill. Bake the algorithm. Love you guys. Go sports.
Farm to fame.
Farm to fame.